What is going on out there to all my little sniffers? It's Andy coming back to you with another episode of Pickin Corners. It's been a great week. It's a week where I've taken all my NHL and NFL content onto my YouTube channel. Now, you guys already had shows like this on my YouTube channel, on my comedy podcast, so maybe we're building something here. Before you know it, it's going to be like my own Tyler Perry operation that we got going on. But as far as the NHL goes, it's been another great week. What was it, a month ago now? Is it a month and a half ago? I told you that when the next season of Sniffer Things came out, those Netflix numbers were going to go through the roof. And this second quarter of the season is nothing short of what many of you longtime sniffers knew it would be. And that is all signs pointing up, the same way all signs are pointing up for those Carolina Hurricanes who, as of the taping of this, find themselves in second place in the Metro. So remember, worst team ever heard in my life. Disastrous start. I told you, relax. It's early in the year, and as of tonight, they're second in the Metro, only with one team above them, a team whose core, whose top six forwards are pretty much all in their 30s and who are probably most likely to play their least impressive hockey in the final third of the season, a time that Carolina, who has a bunch of players already, who are mostly in their prime, can really start trending in the other direction. And do I think they can catch the Rangers by the end of the year? You're damn right I do. And the plus 800 I saw on DraftKings is a pretty solid futures bet, if you ask me. Now, remember, last year, I was bringing up Colorado a bunch, and people love focusing on the fact that Colorado flamed out during the playoffs. Well, a couple things. Number one, when I told you that, I factored in getting Gabe Landeskog back because he was practicing. That's their captain, one of their best forwards. So I thought they were going to get him back, and then they lost Nichushkin in the playoffs. So we were double shorthanded, but the ticket that nobody likes to talk about was how I said to take the Avalanche to win the division when they were out of the playoffs. They weren't even in a wild card spot. They were in the bottom of the Western Conference, and I said, take them to win the division. It took till the final night of the year. But the beautiful thing about the bet, you want to know when it's graded? After the final night of the year. And on the last night, in the last game of the season, the Colorado Avalanche came through, and I would not be surprised whatsoever if that plus 800 on the Carolina Hurricanes cashes by season's end. No guarantee, but for a price like that, it's a pretty damn good price, if you ask me, for a team that I think is the best team in the East when push comes to shove in a 7-game playoff series. Now, we've had a request from one of the Patreon members, and I told you guys, if you guys are on the Patreon, I'll do my best to answer your questions, and on a show like this, I'll do the best I can to explain them, because the Patreon members, you guys are like the fans who own the Packers. You have a percentage share in this show. You have vested interest in this show because I take that money to do things like pay good old Alex, who's pulling up all this stuff for us. So you make that available. I'm appreciative. I answer questions, and I'm going to do that in a second. You guys were asking me, Andy, can you talk about hedging a little bit? How do I apply hedging? When do you hedge? When don't you hedge? And it is somewhat subjective. I know a lot of you guys are pirates, and pirates don't believe in things like hedging. How funny is it that the actual parlay, the pirates like parlay, that means like speak about things, negotiate, call a little truce for a second while we speak. But we really know our parlay pirates. There's no negotiating around here. One thing I will say about hedging, don't take the offers from FanDuel and whatnot. Like, they're going to offer you, oh yeah, here's 200. Yeah, we know you're supposed to win 600, but we'll offer you this 200 now. If you really think that your bet's going to lose, hedge it the other direction. It's almost always a better price than FanDuel is going to offer. What do I mean? For example, you took the Philadelphia Eagles minus 2.5 against the Miami Dolphins. They're up by 7, and you're scared you're going to lose the bet. So are you just going to take the early cash out? Why would you do that? You can now take the adjusted line on Miami at plus 3.5 for plus money, and you can hit both. You can hit that beautiful middle area where you can win both of those bets. And if you need to know what that's like, on Thanksgiving night, If you go to my Twitter profile, I uploaded it to make sure. One of the picks that you saw me give was the Deebo Samuel alt receiving yard. I did a same game parlay where we nailed everything early, and the last thing we needed was Deebo Samuel, 75 yards. And he got up to 58 or something in the first quarter. And I went on to social media. I went on my Instagram and I went on my Twitter. I said, everybody, if you're seeing this, you can hedge that Deebo Samuel live line with an under on his new line, because as these games are going on, the prices are adjusting, the over-unders are adjusting. So the alt line on Deebo Samuel was in the mid-80s, and we needed over 75. Well, guess what? Anybody who took that under 84, whatever it was, they ended up double cashing because he ended up with like 79, 80, or 80 yards. So you hit your original bet, you hit the hedge bet, and that's the way you truly, like, that is a double hit while also hedging. That's the perfect situation to hedge in. Now, there are different situations, like you could talk about when I had an Eastern Conference ticket on the Tampa Bay Lightning. I bet them when they were down 3-2, and I have the tickets to prove it, and you guys know this if you watch the videos. When they were down 3-2 against the Leafs in that opening series, so trailing 3-2 going home, I took them to win the East at an absurd price because the prices adjust after every game, and Tampa would have had to win games 6 and 7 back in Toronto, and this was Tampa coming off back-to-back cups. I knew that wouldn't phase them, and they won that. So now I have these absurd tickets where if they cash, I forget what the price was on them, but it was an absurdly high price. I'm just going to make up plus 2,000 or something like that, plus 1,800. So what I was doing was hedging to protect those earnings. So when they played the Rangers in the conference final, because the next round they swept, they played the Rangers in game 1. Now, you got to look at it this way. If I bet 100 to win 1,800, I have 1,800 of hedging to work with. So game 1, when the Rangers played them, I put 150 on the Rangers. Because if I lose it, all right, I lost 150. But if the Rangers win, now I've got my 100 back from the bet and another 50. Now game 2, I'm going to put 200 on the Rangers or 300 on the Rangers, because if the Lightning lose that one, they're down 0-2. Now you're in a little bit of trouble. That's exactly what happened, by the way. They did lose that game. You're using your potential winnings to hedge the series, but if they would have won that, you're now in a good spot. Yes, you lost that. Well, you won the 100 from the 150 from the first game. Yes, you lost this 250 in the second game, but now you're in a great position to win the series because you're going home split 1-1 and you're the favored Tampa Bay Lightning. So that's another situation to hedge. In hockey, I'm trying to think of the situations. I know in football, there are unlimited ways to hedge. Like that Deebo Samuel was the perfect way. The best way to hedge is if your guy has some success early. The immediate hedge the other way with a new updated line is the best way. As I come across these situations in coming weeks, I'll talk about different kinds of hedges, but that's one that you guys should have in your mind. Rather than accept that FanDuel offer because they're scared you're going to win it, how about you go, no problem there, FanDuel. I'll bet the under on the guy I need. And also, do that on another site. Sometimes deep in the bunkers, they have a little thing. Oh, if you bet against yourself in any way, shape, or form, everything you've ever done in your life is voided. So make sure you hedge it on a separate site. That's just a little side note there. So that's what I'll say about hedging. I will bring this up again in the future when I come across times that I hedge in the NHL or whatnot. A classic example would be you got 4 legs of a parlay. Oh, here's a nice little tip. I always do this. The last leg of my parlay, I want to be one that I really like that's a minus favorite because you can hedge with the plus. What do I mean? Let's use tonight, for example. Let's say I like the Isles minus 1.5. I like the Sens as an underdog. I like Columbus plus 1.5. My last pick on the night would be the Dallas Stars versus Chicago or something like that. That way, if I clear the first three and I want to hedge the parlay, I have a great plus money underdog who I can bet on, and only, like, let's say it was 100 to win 700. And now I forget what Chicago is tonight. Let's just say they're plus 175 or something like that, maybe plus 200. Now, of those 700 of potential earnings, I can put 150 on Chicago, and if it's a plus 200, now I'm winning 300 of the hedge. So I always want that last leg of my parlay to be a pretty heavy favorite so that my hedge can earn as much as possible on the plus side. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So that's what I'll say about hedging on this particular week. And then as far as the Patreon, like, that was one of the benefits right there. There are other benefits as well. Number one, I usually give the picks the night before, so you'll be able to see some of the things that I like as early as possible, because many times when the video comes out, the line has already shifted in a worse direction. Number two, you'll get to join the funny ongoing chat thread that happens on a nightly basis. This is also where we discuss inactives, what goalie's starting, who did what. People bring relevant information to the table. And also there's, the enjoyment of sweating with others who have a similar sweat. You'll also get the updated tickets when that new information comes out. Then, sometimes the tickets have to be adjusted accordingly. When you see Antti Ranta playing for Carolina, it's at least worth mentioning, relax with any potential unders, and maybe don't feel as good about Carolina winning the game, because he almost lost that one last night against Montreal, and then he let up 5 at home against Nashville. Other than that, Kochetkov has been fine. But anyway, also, no, I think that's pretty much it, other than you can be a Green Bay Packers owner and be responsible for the stuff on this show. So to subscribe there, you just got to go to patreon.com/Andy Francess. The app on the phone is real easy, but I think it's available on web. And they say on web the chat is going to be available soon, because right now it's only available on iOS devices. So hopefully you guys join me there. I would sincerely appreciate it. We've had a lot of you come, and I'm very happy to see it. Now, I don't know if that's just because my sniffing is on point, or you guys really just want to support my work here. So every week I try to give you updates with sites, because the thing about the NHL, every single sportsbook offers things that others don't. I saw in the YouTube comments yesterday, Andy, I tried putting in the McDavid 2 points, the Hyman 2 points on BetRivers. It doesn't work, because BetRivers is one of the sites, it will allow you to take one player for 2 points on a team, but it won't allow you to take a second player from that same team. Every single site has its own caveats, and before you get angry and say, how can I possibly remember all these things? Well, when it comes to making money, you might have to pay attention to the details of multiple things. You think someone's going on Wall Street? Yeah, I like that one. It's doing good, right? All right, I'm rich, I'm going home. Now, there's things you got to know. There's little nuances with each site that you got to stay on top of. And knowing what each site offers, even if you want to hedge bets or hedge this, that, and the other, is extremely important. So one new one that I'm going to add to the bunch. These last couple of weeks, I've been telling you to pay attention to, if you think a team is not going to be able to score and they're going to be held off the score sheet, then let's try to find 2 line mates who are not on the top line or the top power play to add to the unders on point props, so that we can get a good price on either a favorite or an under that we like. Well, there's another wrinkle to this. It's a wrinkle that I brought up quickly last week, because ESPN Bet offers the under on goals for players. But it turns out it wasn't the only one. I actually got a little hoodwinked. Turns out it was available on FanDuel Sportsbook, but it's presented in a really funny, weird manner. Now, Alex, I know I told you that we're probably going to go to the other ones first, the BetRivers, but yeah, here we go. Let's go to this. So let's take that same philosophy of, okay, I kind of like the under in this game, but let's say you like Dallas, whether it's the Dallas or the under, whatever. What we're going to do to get this line at a price we like, whether you like Dallas or you like Dallas or you like the under, if you believe that Chicago on the road is not going to be able to score a ton, which they've kind of demonstrated that is the case many of the times this year, So what we can do to bring this up, if you go to the same game parlay tab, you want to know why I got tricked? I used to see anytime goal scorer. If you go down just a bit, it's right there. I would click on that and say, oh, they only offer a guy to score, just like on, DraftKings and stuff like that. Can't bet against him until I had myself a scroll down memory lane. Look at this if you scroll to the very bottom. Once I start seeing this, I go, oh, it's all the period stuff. First period, second period, third period. But look what's even under that. That's where you find the individuals. That's where you find the guys who, if you want to take an under on their goal, this is where it's listed individually under their names. So what I'm going to do is go under. Now, look, it's not going to jack up your odds that much because this isn't points. This is way harder to do. You guys know that I never include goal scorers in my same game parlays or on my picks in general because it's very, very hard to predict. I told you last week, Mikko Rantanen, 50 goal scorers, 9 straight games without a goal. It happens all the time. But if we can bet against goals just to even raise the price on something a little bit. So how about we go back up to the top? Let's do this the hard way. Let's take Dallas to win because that's going to be a disgusting price. Oh, by the way, Chicago's plus 290. So what I said before about the hedging, if you hedged 200, that would bring you 600 in return anyway. So we got a rusty 375. That's nice. Man, these goal scorers aren't going to do much for this. Let's go down to some of these goal scorers. I don't want to choose Bedard, but in a game like this, who knows? I might. I'm definitely going to choose Nick Foligno. How about, did I see Kurashev down there? All right. And then give me Radish. Or did we choose Foligno yet? We did, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, this probably won't even put it to even. Minus 121. But we're taking a couple of players who, like, if you're telling yourself that Dallas is going to win this game and how are they going to win it, to me, I would prefer doing this with the under. But you can see right here, another way you can hammer these down on FanDuel Sportsbook is they are one of the only ones in the U.S. that offers the alt shots on goals. So you can take the under on these goal totals. You know what? Remove one of them. Let's just take Foligno and Kurashev. Now let's go up to shots on goal. It's tough to good stuff. So you just had it. Go down. Two plus shots on goal. Now, if I go to Rupe Hintz, I mean, I know these prices are ridiculous. Right there, we're already at, or if you even want, whatever, hey, anybody you like in this range, if you hit the bet slip, we're already at plus 108. Now, one of the picks that I gave out on the Patreon for this game, I tend to like the under 6.5. So if we X out on the stars and we change this to the under 6.5, I mean, we're already at minus 133. But also think about the correlation. If it's staying under 6.5, and you're right about that, how many goals have the Chicago Blackhawks scored on the road? And if they have, how many are by Bedard? Because Bedard's not in our ticket. And how many is it from secondary players? How many is coming from defensemen? So if we take the under 6.5, this will put us at plus 178. All I'm trying to say is using the under on goal scores to at least boost up your prices a little can be used to great length and great strategy, because on particular nights where you have a team like Boston, if a team like Boston is hosting the Rangers or something like that, I'll bet against Mika Zibanejad to score a goal, and there you're getting great prices. I'll bet against the best player I will bet against Draisaitl to score if, like, that's a great one, right? Him and McDavid are split up right now. If he's on, on the road in a tough if he's on the road at Winnipeg, adding something like that to a ticket is a great way to jack up those prices. So that's on the under side of things. How about on the over side of things? I told you guys that when I make these videos, when I make the daily NHL videos, a lot of times the player points aren't up on most of the sites, including BetRivers, Ballybet, and most of them. So I'm going to assemble the exact picks that I gave you earlier so that you guys know how to do them. So if we go to BetRivers now, I said there were 2 ruckus potential games on this slate, and one is the Leafs Blue Jackets, and the other is the Devils Sens. So if we go to the same game parlay tab here, and I like Toronto in this game, so give me Toronto. Then let's go down to those player points. We're getting a pretty good price on Mitch Marner for 2 points, because if I think they're going to win, we're going to take advantage of the potential ruckus. We're getting a slightly better price on Marner. Now, don't forget, I think Marner was this team's point leader these past couple of seasons. Everyone loves McDavid's goals and Willem Nylander's skill, but it's usually Marner who sneakily leads them in scoring in terms of total points. So he kind of has had a couple games that he hasn't played so well, but I'll take that plus 155 there. And then I'm going to add, I said Gaudreau in the video. Did they drop Werenski under him now in terms of prices, or is Werenski injured? Oh, is he not playing in this game? Interesting. Just as a reminder, if he isn't playing, that means a different defenseman is going to be taking his spot on the top power play. You can get a great price on somebody like that. But you guys know that that's called trickle-down snakeonomics. That's what I labeled it last year. So let's take Gaudreau for a point. And now hit that bet slip. And that's how you build yourself a ruckus same-game parlay. Yeah, you could add the over if you'd like, and that will take it to, like plus 550 or something like that. If you want to add it, by the way, this is how you would do it. Since the over is listed at 7 now, you would go to game, including overtime, and then you would go down to the adjustable sliding scale, change it to 6.5. You'd click the over. Probably won't change it all that much. 575. Get yourself a pretty little penny there. So that's one of the ones I gave off. Now let's go to the Senators game. And we'll do the same exact thing with some of those picks that I gave. The more I think about the game, the more I'm starting to weirdly like Ottawa at plus 1.5. And that is what I gave on the channel. I gave them at plus 1.5. So if you're going to have to do the same thing, go to game including overtime. And then if you go down, puck line, and click that plus 1.5. And now we're going to go to player points. I gave Stützle for 2 points, and I told you guys my theory. If I'm right about the underdog having 2 points, then then the plus 1.5 is more likely to hit, because in order for me to not be covering that plus 1.5, we're going to need 3 other goals from the Devils on top of the one that we're going to add right now. Let's go to 1 point and scroll up. On the video, I gave Nico Hischier. So if you click Hischier there, and you click the bet slip, you got plus 450. Now click that, get rid of Hischier. So unclick, or you can do it either way. And now, an interesting thing about sites like BetRivers that I mentioned, not only is it cool that you can take 2 points for guys, but you can take 1 point for players who typically are designated for 2 points. So let's add Jack Hughes for a point at some preposterous price, just so I can show you what that's like. And then you got plus 310, and if you take away the Hughes, how much does Hughes add to that? I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad that he's adding that. And I will let you know, if you want to get a little gangly, because Stützle is their best player. If not Hughes for 2, but if we go off of Stützle, and we know that the Sens are capable of scoring, if we take Josh Norris for 2 points, we know he plays in that top 6. So if we uncheck Stützle and then switch to Josh Norris, I mean, now this is when you start building some real ruckus. Oh, did you get rid of Hughes? And re-add Hughes for the 1? Plus 540. And that is not crazy what you're seeing in a game between the Devils, who are having trouble beating anybody these days. They needed to come back on their own home ice to beat Columbus in overtime. They lost to Columbus on their home ice recently. They lost to Philly on their own. They can lose to anybody at any time. Everybody's a suspect, like in the movie Scream. So this, to me, just does not seem crazy at all. Ottawa happens to score. They're playing a team who has no defense, no goaltending. I might throw a little side slice of that in there tonight. So that's a little ruckus same game over parlays that you saw me give out earlier on the channel. And now, I guess, let's do something that many of you have been waiting for me to do, and that is look at some Saturday games. I really have not looked at it once. Not a single time. I still don't know how I feel about early games. But if we're going on streaks, which have worked well for us, the Winnipeg Jets at under 6.5. So that would be a bump it up under, as we like to call it. And if there are any new users here, happy to have you, by the way. If you searched NHL bets and then you found my channel, we call you a Westworld searcher. If you happen to be a Westworld searcher, please let me know, because I appreciate it. That means my videos are somehow finding new people. You could just say, hi, I'm Dan, and I'm a Westworld searcher. And I really would love it if your name was Dan, because you don't meet enough Dans anymore. Everybody tries to be cool with their names now. Dogs are the new humans, where they're Frank, Phil, Bartholomew, and now humans are Mustard, Willow, and all these weird things. What made me start talking about that? I have no clue. The under 6.5 in the... oh, yes, the Westworld searchers. Happy to have you here. But Winnipeg, under 6.5. A bump it up under means it's listed at 6. We're going to take the alt under at 6.5. Then we got... Oh, this is Major Ruckus. This game right here, this occurred no more than 2 weeks ago, and the final score was 9-4, I believe, Columbus, and it was on the Buffalo Sabres home ice. Same reason that I'm taking Toronto to win tonight. I'm a big fan of that home and home type of vengeance, even though this isn't a home and home. It's back to the same home. And after that embarrassing loss, and you have Columbus, who's going to be playing tonight and then has to travel to Buffalo, to me, that's -1.5. Like Tage Thompson, who's going to be returning 2 points, or for Dahlin 2 points. This is a -1.5, 2 points for a Sabre, if you ask me. You can also build the ruckus over 6.5, point here, point there with the Sabres. So I do like the Sabres there. Next up, we got the Devils. That's Boston for me. That is Boston for a multitude of reasons. Number one, oh my God, there's endless reasons. We got the Devils playing tonight, then have to travel and play tomorrow against a team who's way better defensively, has way better goaltending. And we saw these teams play in New Jersey. They held New Jersey to 0 goals through like 80% of that game. The Devils tied it in the third, and I believe won it in overtime. But the Bruins, I think, are suited to win this game. Great game against Buffalo. Shut down one ruckus team. Now I'm expecting them to come home and shut down another ruckus team. I would take Boston there. Penguins, Blues, if we're going by theories, they're making it easy for us. Blues playing tonight, home. Avalanche then go on the road, probably maybe spent after skating back and forth with the Avalanche. Pittsburgh coming off a 7-0 win, going home. Pittsburgh potentially over there if that's listed at a clean 6. You guys are really getting some good ones from me today. You know, this is how it is, by the way. I remember that Yin Yang Twins song about a working and a twerking and about a say I. Nashville going to Washington. I believe they're both playing tonight. My first thought looking at that is under 6.5. Can you go a little more? I can't see who the Canadians are playing. Canadians, Florida. Wow, the Canadians are the one team, I guess. I don't give two rats' asses if the team played the night before. But also, if you remember my rule, I don't mind it as much if a team stays at home and goes right back to the rink. Let's see the type of game that Florida and the Rangers play before picking Florida. If it's some crazy back and forth exhausting game, emotionally draining, then I won't do it. But if Florida loses, if Florida comes out flat tonight, then I'll absolutely take them tomorrow. Lightning waiting for a Rangers team. I'll take the Lightning there. Carolina, Toronto. Ooh. How much do you have faith in Carolina, Andy? God damn. Oh, I'll take the coward's way out. +1.5, Carolina. Oof, Oilers, Kings. No opinion just yet. I guess that's everything that's listed, right? Yeah, but still, gave you some great ones up in there. Had some good feelings. All right. I think that about does it for this episode of Pickin Corners. Thank you guys for coming back once again. We got a lot of content on my YouTube channel. I'm in the process of uploading a new comedy pod right before I'm going to upload this. You had the NHL videos earlier today. You got the NFL videos coming tomorrow. What's better than this? I don't know, maybe the Patreon. So if you want to go over there and subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for coming back once again. Make sure to like, comment, engage with all my videos these days because, I don't have the machine pumping out a bunch of content. So in order to get it suggested to other people, I think the algorithm's got to see comments. But I saw one of you comment 8 things, 1 word at a time. My guess is the algorithm knows you're doing that. If I was programming the algorithm, I'd say, there's going to be that guy who's doing the 1 text at a time with every single comment. So be careful with that. But anything you guys do to engage with these and share these is greatly appreciated. I will be back with you guys next week for another episode of Pickin Corners. If I don't talk to you before then, I don't happen to see you before then, Happy New Year! Diet starts on Monday, even though you're going to be drinking past midnight, which means you've already broken your New Year's resolution and diet and everything. So now it's the first Monday after New Year's. It's all a scam. I'll see you guys next week or tomorrow for the NFL picks. Take it easy. Have a good one. I'll talk to you then.